right. Okay, I've set it to 1.
Good day from the International Space Station Flight Control Room here at the Johnson Space Center in Houston, where the Orbit 2 team of flight controllers on console taking a shift handover from the Orbit 1 team, ready to support their Russian counterparts a half a world away at the Russian Mission Control Center outside of Moscow in support of what should be a compelling 6.5-hour spacewalk today. Oleg Kononenko and Sergei Prokopyev to conduct a thorough and detailed inspection of the outside of the Soyuz MS-09 spacecraft that is ready to come home and bring Prokopyev, Serena Aunin Chancellor, and Station Commander Alexander Gerst back to Earth on December 19th, U.S. time. Here in the flight control room, the flight director who will be in charge of today's spacewalk from the U.S. side, Zeb Scoville, at the bottom of your screen in the white shirt, completing a shift handover. He is joined on console by others who we will get into in just a moment or two. Outside of Moscow in the Russian Mission Control Center, the Russian flight control team, you're looking at a live view from a balcony camera overlooking that cavernous flight control room. They will be in charge of today's spacewalk. They will be talking directly to the cosmonauts as they conduct their work outside. Kononenko and Prokopyev all suited up inside the Pirs docking compartment airlock, which is currently being depressurized, running about 15 minutes ahead of the timeline in advance of the expected start of today's spacewalk that will be measured at the time that the hatch to the Pirs docking compartment is opened. That is the signifying moment when Russian spacewalks' elapsed time is measured from hatch open to hatch close. Oleg Kononenko, the flight engineer who next week will become commander of the International Space Station, will be the lead spacewalker for today. EV1, extravehicular crew member number 1, wearing the Orlan spacesuit bearing the red stripes. This will be the 4th spacewalk of his career, 3 previous spacewalks totaling 18 hours and 27 minutes out in the void of space. His spacewalking colleague today, Sergei Prokopyev, who is also going to be the commander of the Soyuz MS-09 vehicle that will ride home to a parachute-assisted landing on the steppe of Kazakhstan next week, making the 2nd spacewalk of his career. His previous spacewalk back in August, 7 hours and 46 minutes of spacewalking time. This is the 213th spacewalk in space station history in support of assembly, maintenance, and upgrades. The 8th spacewalk out of the International Space Station this year. 5 previous U.S. spacewalks, 2 previous Russian spacewalks in this calendar year. You're looking live at a picture right now from a truss camera on the International Space Station. At the very top of your screen is the forward section, the bulbous section called the orbital module, sometimes referred to as the habitation module of the Soyuz MS-09 spacecraft that is mated to the Rassvet module on the Earth-facing side of the Russian segment of the International Space Station. It is right at that interface between the Soyuz, or basically the top of the Soyuz vehicle, and the Rassvet docking port, where the work will be conducted today by Kononenko and Prokopyev to cut away a 10-inch layer of multi-layer insulation right where those insignias are located, just below, or as the orientation would be, just above the Russian Cyrillic word for Soyuz. They will be using a series of tools, cutters, and knives to cut away a 10-inch section of multi-layer insulation, and then about a 10-inch section of orbital debris shield that lies underneath that insulation, to be able to look directly at the hull of the orbital module correspondent to the area inside that section of the Soyuz where a hole was detected back on August 29th following flight controllers observing a loss of pressure in the space station. The crew on board the station was never in danger and quickly moved to seal up that leak through cloth material and an epoxy sealant. It is expected that once the insulation and the micrometeoroid debris shield sections are cut back to expose the hull of the Soyuz, that some of the sealant that would have extruded to the outside of the hull of the Soyuz will be evident. Kononenko and Prokopyev will use swabs to collect some samples of that sealant material, basically for analysis back on Earth. This is is not, and we will emphasize this repeatedly throughout the course of today's spacewalk, this is not a repair effort today. It is a data collection and analysis exercise where the two cosmonauts will be inspecting and collecting samples and photographic documentation of the hull of the surface of the habitation module to gather engineering data for Russian specialists on Earth as they work for future analysis of the potential cause of the source of the leak that was detected back on August 29th in the vehicle. The spacewalk will also allow specialists to look externally at the effectiveness of the internal repair that was effected by Prokopiev and Alex Gerst back on August 29th. The material that was injected into the hull, this epoxy sealant on the inside of the habitation compartment, is expected to be seen on the outside, as we mentioned a moment ago. That external data and the observations could provide data that will be useful for the refinement of future leak repair techniques. The Soyuz MS-09 that again will return to Earth next week with Prokopiev, Gerst, and Anand Chancellor has been thoroughly checked out. It has been deemed perfectly safe for the crew to return to Earth back on December 19th U.S. time. A landing scheduled on the central steppe of Kazakhstan, the parachute-assisted landing on the night of Wednesday, December 19th U.S. time at 11:03 p.m. Central Time. That will be 11:03 a.m. Kazakhstan time on December 20th. We'll retrieve a foot restraint from that is currently housed on the large diameter section of the Zvezda service module, and a foot restraint adapter that will be used to be installed on one of two so-called Strela booms. Strela, which is the Russian word for arrow. These are telescoping booms that extend to a length of some 49 feet and will be used by Kononenko to be swung around, essentially, first to the Zarya module, where a second Strela boom is located. He will then dismount from the Strela 1 boom. He'll plant his foot into a foot restraint onto the Strela 2 boom that is housed on the Zarya module, and that will enable him to get to the work site on the habitation module of the Soyuz vehicle that is mated to the Rosviet module on the Earth-facing side of the International Space Station. So the first order of business is to retrieve all of these tools and foot restraints. Then Kononenko will translate or make his way from the Rosviet module to the forward portion of the Zarya module using the first of these two Strela cranes. He'll install a foot restraint and an adapter then on the second of the two Strela booms, and will then access the Soyuz leak area that you see in this graphic, where he will then begin to use a series of knives and cutting tools to cut away through about a 10-inch section of multi-layer insulation blankets and the micrometeoroid orbital debris shield that's underneath those blankets to get to the hull of the habitation module, correspondent with the area where the hole was detected back in August, and which was a few hours later sealed to stop the reduction of pressure inside the International Space Station. Once Kononenko and Prokopiev have arrived at the inspection site on the habitation module of the Soyuz vehicle, again, Kononenko will use a series of tools to cut about a 10-inch swath of the multi-layer insulation away, right there as you see, from near that series of insignias that signify the word Soyuz that you see, along with the insignia from Roscosmos, RSC Energia, and the Russian flag. The work that will be done by Kononenko, again, is strictly designed not to repair anything, but to gather data and some samples of any of the sealant material that would have extruded on the outside hull of the Soyuz vehicle to return to Earth for analysis by Russian specialists back on the ground. The rectangular box that you see right in front of Kononenko's helmet, that's a sample container that the samples will be placed in for return to Earth. Once the work is done to collect those samples, there will be a insulation blanket that will be installed over the area where the cutting will have taken place to peel back that small section of insulation and the micrometeoroid orbital debris shield. That thermal blanket will be installed and secured in place with a series of clips so that that area will not be exposed to the heat of reentry when that vehicle comes home on December 19th.
Small hook from the KPU is going to be tethered to mine, right? No, the equipment tether should be connected to...
While the Russian flight controllers direct the spacewalkers on the configuration of tethers outside of the Pirs docking compartment, a view of Sergei Prokopyev wearing the suit bearing the blue stripes, embarking on the second spacewalk of his career, the first having been conducted back in August, a 7-hour, 46-minute spacewalk that he conducted at that time. He will be in the center seat of the Soyuz MS-09 as the Soyuz commander next week when it undocks from the International Space Station, flanked to his left by Alex Gerst and to his right by Serena Aunen-Chancellor for the descent back to Earth and a parachute-assisted landing on the steppe of Kazakhstan to wrap up their 6+ month mission.
Yes. I'm actually next to the INGRESS payload right now. And I'm translating towards plane 3.
Сереж, нам нужно... Ты где сейчас находишься?
Я сейчас около 9-го иллюминатора.
Принято. И дальше уходишь в сторону 4-й.
4-й, точно.
Здесь стоят 2 телескопа больших.
There should be 2 telescopes installed there. I see them.
A small piece of insulation and then a small piece of the micrometeoroid orbital debris shield, the MMOD shield, underneath to expose the hull of the habitation module that will be correspondent to the area inside the habitation module where the hole was detected back on August 29th, traced to the leak and a reduction in pressure inside that Soyuz spacecraft and the International Space Station. That hole was quickly patched up by Prokopyev and Alexander Gerst using epoxy sealant material, some of which is expected to be seen that would have extruded through the hole and be visible in the outside hull. It will be Kononenko taking video through a GoPro camera as well as digital still imagery of that material, and will use swabs to collect small samples of that material to be placed in a sealant container and brought back to Earth for analysis by Russian engineers on the ground.
But we still have a good visual on you from the external cameras. Excellent. I'm securing my large small red to the foot restraint. This is Sergey.
Да, его добавляй, а принесешь еще его на этом мягком, который закрепишь за свой короткий.
Да, принято.
Copy, and use a gap spanner as another tether point. Understand and work.
Да, принял. Или сначала расфиксирую якорь, а потом перецеплю мягкий поручень.
Right, and I'm going to unlock the foot restraint first, and then I'm going to retether to the gap spanners. Agreed.
Раскручиваю. Держатель, так, зафиксировал.
And doing the threaded lock, the foot restraint is released.
ВРА.
Сереж, не спеши. Да, вышел?
Да? Почти вышел.
Принято.
Половину.
Sergey, take your time.
Надо ровно пассиво его, там достаточно маленький зазор в диаметре. Поэтому пасти желательно.
Is the lock completely out? Almost. Copy. Keep holding it in place.
Фиксирован мягкими переменной длины фал.
I understand. And it's actually secured by two tethers.
А второй закрепи там за
Which one should I
УРМД.
take with me? The one that's tethered to the base.
Забираешь и все.
You can actually grab any one of those two. Copy.
Олег.
Да, подхожу к...
Oh, look, yes, I'm getting close to the grapple fixture.
На
I see that.
закрепляешь укладку, и одновременно
Secure
изолирующий контейнер с крулок
the bundle to the
его закрепляешь на кольце.
to one of the tethers, and the equipment tether needs to be also secured to the transportation ring on the Strela.
Минут, 3-4
Copy.
минуты. Не удивляйтесь.
And actually, we might go LOS on this event for about 3 to 4 minutes.
Хорошо, принято. Так, перешел на стрелу.
I'm on the boom.
Давай, Олег.
Okay, Oleg.
Значит, смотрите, дальнейшие действия.
Your further actions are as follows. Oleg, you will need to move to the grapple fixture. You will
Сергей
accommodate yourself.
пост оператора.
Then you will move to the operator's post, copy, together with the ring.
И после этого начинается перемещение стрелы в сторону ПГБ.
After that, you start moving the boom towards the FGB. Copy.
Принял. Я пока
Copy all. I'm holding the boom to prevent it from moving.
глядя наблюдаю.
I can see the grapple fixture.
Левой
Oleg,
стороны.
your target is on the left, or to the left from you.
Перепрыгнул.
Copy. I've jumped over it.
Again, Oleg Kononenko moving up the length of the Strela 1 boom, 49 feet in length. He will be maneuvered by Sergei Prokopiev, who will be at the so-called operator's post of this first of two such space cranes that Kononenko will ride to finally reach the work site at the top of the Soyuz MS-09 vehicle called the habitation module that is linked to the Rosviet module of the International Space Station on the Earth-facing side of the complex.
Very good. So if there is a LOS,
Продолжаем работать.
continue working
До момента меня ждите только на связи, когда надо отстыковывать стрелу.
until you will have to demate the Strela boom. So you will have to wait for my go. Copy that. No, you are moving. Yes, you are moving, Oleg.
Так, я вращаю потихоньку.
And I'm rotating.
Движение почувствовал.
Now I have the sensation of the movement. This is EV1.
Сереж, не спеши.
Sergey, don't be in a hurry with the rotation.
Смотрю.
Sergey, please be careful. The radiators are there, mind you. Yes, if you know it's too fast, you can stop.
Rails on the pressurized adapter on the GR.
Я только тут спустился.
Well, I just managed to move down, and the Soyuz is underneath me.
Давайте дождемся света.
Okay, so let's wait for the sunrise through the solar path. Okay, sounds good.
Отдохни, Олег.
Oleg, please rest. Okay, so it's starting already. Okay, please do it. Okay, I can reach it now. Okay. Okay, let me reconnect this one for you, rehook this tether for you. Okay. Якорь foot restrained. And I'm ready to take it from you. Yes, Sergey. Якорь restrained. Okay. Okay, so the kits, where are they? They are already up there. Okay. Okay, then you can just hand it over to me. Hand over what? The safety hooks, the ones that are used for the kits. Guys, I think that one of you can move along the beam and the other can.
Two hours, 6 minutes into the spacewalk, a good view of Sergei Prokopyev working in tandem with Oleg Kononenko to configure the second of two space cranes called Strela booms that will transport them over to the workside of the Soyuz MS-09 return vehicle a short time from now. Again, the whole point of today's spacewalk has nothing to do with repairs. That Soyuz vehicle is fit to come home next week to bring Prokopyev, Serena Anand Chancellor, and Alexander Gerst back to Earth after their 6.5-month mission. Today's spacewalk is designed to inspect and collect samples and to collect photographic documentation of the surface of the habitation module, strictly designed to gather additional engineering data for Russian specialists back on Earth for the future analysis of potential causes for the source of the leak inside that habitation module that was detected back on August 29th and quickly repaired by Prokopyev and Gerst using an epoxy sealant. The spacewalk will allow specialists to look externally at the effectiveness of that repair work that was conducted 4 months ago. Material that was injected into the hole on the inside of the habitation compartment is expected to be seen having extruded on the outside of the hull. That will result in data and observations that could provide additional information to change and improve future leak repair techniques. Of that upper section or habitation module sets the stage for the pyrotechnic separation of the three sections of the Soyuz, the habitation module, that upper section, and the instrumentation and propulsion module, the lower section, are discarded. They burn up upon re-entry into the Earth's atmosphere. The only section that survives is the one, most importantly, with the crew on board. That's the descent module.
Oleg, I'm right next to you. Yes, I can see you. I'm moving here. Oh, it's much better. Let us.
And the second one should be attached to the foot restraint through the adapter. Yes, okay, we'll put it all in work now. Are you? I hope I'm not shaking you too strongly. No, that's fine. The grapple fixture. So I think the lanyard is not attached to the correct handle. So it should be hooked to the handle that was installed. Okay, we've just did that. Everything is fine. Sergey, lift it towards yourself in that direction, and then put it on the MRAM. Okay, let me move. To the side a bit. Okay, does it work? Yes, that's fine. And now you need to move me towards MRM somehow. Okay, so moving you down now. Okay, I still do not see the letters. So you need to move me even further beyond the restraint.
This is Mission Control, approaching the 3.5-hour mark into the spacewalk. You see Oleg Kononenko at the end of the Strela boom. He'll be maneuvered just a bit more to the left, where you see the Roscosmos insignia just on the left side of the habitation module, as we look at it from this perspective. A very good view of the MS-09 vehicle. The center section is the descent module. That is the only section that survives the heat of re-entry, with the crew strapped into their respective seats in that middle section for a parachute-assisted landing on the steppe of Kazakhstan, as will be the case next Wednesday night, a week from tomorrow night, U.S. time, early in the morning of December 20th in Kazakhstan. At the very end of the Soyuz, that white section, that's the instrumentation and propulsion module, where the solar arrays and the engines of the Soyuz are located. But the focus of attention is that top section, the bulbous portion, called the orbital module, or the habitation module, where Kononenko will be using cutting tools to cut away a small swath of thermal insulation, and below it, an orbital debris shield, so that the hull can be exposed for a sample collection of any sealant material that may have extruded through a hole detected in that habitation module back on August 29th that caused a temporary loss of some pressure inside the International Space Station.
Strela is really close to the surface here. Should we just maneuver it away and then secure it? Sergey, you need to reach shuttle launch restraint. Okay. And Sergey, please release adjustable tether and secure the boom in your launch restraint. Then move towards Oleg and maneuver it towards BO and rotate the grapple fixture. And then we will see if we really need to move the boom away from MRM hull or not. Okay, I got you. And Oleg, what do you think? Should we increase the length here or not?
As the International Space Station flies 250 miles south of Australia,
now,
soon to enter an orbital sunrise over the Pacific Ocean, a ghostly view of Oleg Kononenko at the end of the Strela boom. You can see on the right side of the habitation module, that is the insignia of the Russian Space Agency, Roscosmos. Just above it in this orientation are the Cyrillic letters for the word Soyuz. He will be using his cutting tools to cut a 10-inch swath of insulation from about the first O in the word Roscosmos on that insignia vertically as you're looking at this orientation to expose the debris shield underneath as we have just passed the 3.5-hour mark into the spacewalk.
Oleg, smile.
Unintelligible. I think my location is a little bit too far.
Another spectacular view of Oleg Kononenko, his feet squarely planted in a foot restraint at the end of the Strela boom. The station flying over the Tasman Sea, a great view of the orbital module, the top section of the Soyuz vehicle, where Kononenko will use cutting tools a short time from now to cut through a small piece of thermal insulation and then the debris shield underneath for his inspection work. We are 3 hours and 38 minutes into the spacewalk. It is this Soyuz vehicle that will undock from the Rosviet module to which it is attached and has been since June 3rd. That undocking is scheduled next Wednesday night, December 19th. That will send Prokopiev, Serena Onin Chancellor, and Station Commander Alexander Gerst on their way towards a re-entry and a landing on the steppe of Kazakhstan at 11:03 p.m.
I'm near the BO, orbital compartment. That's good, Sergey. Now everything depends on you guys. Oleg, of course you can give recommendations, and Sergey, just be careful, look where you'll be rotating it. Do you see the target there? Yes, you will need to get to the target. Yeah, so I will need to put it right here. Yes, you will need to place it flat right here, and then push it, or rather pull it, I meant. And honestly, you should be able to keep rotating it. Let me see. You need to place me to the right, to turn me to the right, and I should be at a 90-degree angle right now. I can see that spot with my peripheral vision. It doesn't work, so I should be looking right at it. Okay?
As you can hear from this conversation, Kononenko is trying to position himself in the correct orientation for the easiest access to the area where he will perform this forensic surgery on the thermal insulation, and then on the micrometeoroid orbital debris shield underneath.
An opening there, a little bit to the right from that logo. Do you want me to move you lower, Oleg? Yeah, I will move you slightly lower, Oleg. Will you be able to reach that valve? When Sergey moves me back, yes. Okay. I hope so. And attach your small large red there. Yeah, that's exactly what I thought about. So I should position myself and then immediately secure myself with the red. That's exactly right. Will it be a secure attachment? I believe so. I am moving a little bit above the Soyuz vehicle. Okay, so you are secure. Yes, I am. Is it possible to punch through it? And what is that? It's like a bucket? What is it again? Can you please move to closer to Oleg as much as possible? Okay, in work. Honestly, I can't look at that. It's my vehicle, Oleg. All right, so I've made a hole. Copy? Will you try to insert that cutter inside? No, this is the handle. Now you need to mark where you will be making a cut. Honestly, I can't turn right now, Sergey. Do you need the scissors? Yes, give me the scissors, please. Can you make a small cut in that location? I have already made that cut. I'm preparing the scissors. This is Sergey. Wonderful. The scissors, I have removed them from the bag. Oleg, here they are. Close the cutter, Oleg. Close the cutter and stow it. Okay? If there are any problems, please stop immediately and readjust your position. Make sure that your position is... I need to hold myself secure or stable in place while Oleg is cutting. My proposal is that I go back to the operator's post and then
We've hit the 4-hour mark in today's spacewalk. Oleg Kononenko trying to gain the most favorable body orientation relative to the location where he is about to use a cutting tool to make a 10-inch incision and peel back a swath of thermal insulation correspondent to the area inside the habitation module or upper section of the Soyuz spacecraft, where the leak and hole were detected back on August 29th, causing a temporary loss of pressure inside the International Space Station.
No, it is turning in the lock. EV2. Oleg, this is Moscow. You know, I don't think it will work. Now, a little bit back and turn a little bit. A little bit backwards. How is it, Sergey? It is better. At least it is better. Still, it is not perfect and not in the heel clip fully. I cannot understand why the heel clip would not cut the rate. So how should I turn the foot restraint? What about the foot? Is it in place?
Asteroid orbital debris shield. He, however, has not had much luck getting the correct leverage with his feet in a foot restraint at the end of the Strela boom to be able to utilize a different set of cutters, so he's now back to the knife itself.
Oleg, be careful. Don't be so harsh on that. I understand that it is hard for you, but please try to be calm. You know, there is something black visible here. And another layer, maybe? Is it hard? There is another layer, so I have to go a little bit deeper. Yes, there are two layers. One of them hardened, and the other is not so hard. Okay, so what about this metal, thing? Should I throw it away because it's beneath my knife blade right now?
This, by the way, is deja vu to a certain extent from July 10th, 2008, when Kononenko and Sergei Volkov used cutting tools and knives to cut away insulation over pyrotechnic bolts, the separation mechanisms for module separation that they inspected on their Soyuz TMA-12 spacecraft.
The knife is going deeper. Oleg, this is Moscow. Go ahead.
Если мы поставим держатель, и ты будешь держаться уже за держатель.
If we install the clip that will be a little bit higher, and you will be holding at this clip, maybe you will stabilize yourself more.
А нож глубже-то я что-то как-то не хочу.
You know, I don't want to go deeper with the knife. You know, of course, there is a black layer there.
Не знаю, дорезал туда это.
I don't know whether I went deep enough.
Там получается два пакета.
Okay, there are two packets, two layers.
Металла прорезать.
So you will have to cut all through to the metal.
Я два прорезал.
Well, I went through two of the layers.
Так все-таки насчет, если держатель.
So what about the clip holder? If you secure it a little bit up there, will it help? You know, I won't be able to use the other hand anyway. Олег, this is Moscow.
Еще другое предложение.
Another suggestion.
Мы берем сейчас с собой большой карабин small large red.
We are taking the hook of the thread, insert it into the hole that you have just done,
В районе надписи Роскосмоса левой рукой.
and you will be able to hold with your left hand,
Немного дальше двигаться.
and you will be able to move a little bit further. What do you think? Yeah, I can try that.
Давай попробуем.
Let us try that.
Да, прижимаю.
Now, push me.
И куда толкайся от меня?
Push me a little bit, Sergey.
Фух.
Олег, если хочешь, давай отдыхать.
Oleg, if you need a rest, let's rest.
Я уже вижу это бомжа.
No, I will do the cutting.
Олег, как у тебя охлаждение?
Oleg, what about the cooling in your spacesuit? Well, it looks fine. It feels fine.
Ну, если тепловато будет,
If it's too warm,
то можно ручной ручкой на ПГПУ там в двоечку поставить.
you can use the handle manually to adjust. Okay, will do, if necessary.
Фух. Он за бомжа зарезал.
I think I reached the surface
Теперь здесь где-то, да?
now, somewhere here,
9 сантиметров туда.
9 centimeters towards that side.
Нож подать тебе?
Should I give you the knife?
До этого хоть чуть-чуть.
No, I will have to cut through here first. So should I try to look into, should I just use the clip here? So I'm not sure whether I cut it through or not. I think I have. Maybe you can try the cutter and go along this orifice, this opening, to make sure that you have cut through.
4 hours, 21 minutes into the spacewalk, a great view of Oleg Kononenko in the red stripes, having used a cutting tool to make an incision as he continues now to use a knife to cut away thermal insulation and try to get to the orbital meteoroid debris shield underneath that he hopes to be able to cut to expose the hull of the habitation module of the Soyuz for sample collection of any epoxy sealant that may have extruded during the repair of a hole on the inside of the habitation module back on August 29th.
Oleg, this is Moscow. Go ahead.
Вот если сейчас посмотреть на ММЗ, ты видишь стык вот этот поперечной ленточки приклеенной? Можно до этого определиться?
Okay, there should be some kind of a transverse ribbon.
Помнишь?
What?
Ленточкой, которая на ММЗ приклеена.
Do you remember the ribbon that is glued to MMZ? So it should be something like that inside. No, I do not see it right now. Of course, it is closer to the valve. Yes. You know, it would be nice if you cut something that should not be cut, some kind of, that is not necessary to cut. Yes, I understand. Now I see it, Moscow. I even cut through half of it. Now, recommendation from Moscow. So you will go from this ribbon of 5 centimeters. I have already done this. And then you will have to cut a little bit lower. Do you remember, Oleg, from the word Roskosmos? You will have to count a few centimeters higher in 9 squares should be counted from the Roskosmos inscription, and then you will cut again. You know, we need the third person here, the third operator that would control the boom, you know. Maybe you should ask Kirill. Maybe we should ask Serena. Sergey, switch on the lights, please, so that I can see. Yes, I have switched on the lights, but I was pushed away as a result of this. You know, when you were holding me, I was able to cut the half through. I am flying away, and I'm flying away too.
Давайте, ребят, по накатанной схеме. Сереж, ты держи, Олег режет.
Guys, let's do, you know, as you did first time. So Sergey will hold Oleg, and Oleg will do the cutting.
Так.
Okay.
Нет, как-то вот фал за себя зацепить.
Should I hook this tether
Который на этой.
on myself, the ones that's hooked to the lug? Well, yes, you can connect your tether to that lug. No, do not use your safety tether for that purpose. Well, but what should I do then? I can release the tether from KPU container and then attach one side to myself and the other one to over here. So I will be securely attached.
Having passed the 4.5-hour mark in the spacewalk, a good view of Oleg Kononenko with a pair of cutters as he continues to attempt to get the best leverage possible to continue cutting a healthy swath of insulation away that he can peel back, exposing a part of the debris shield underneath that he also intends to cut away so that he can get to the external hull of the habitation module, the upper section of the Soyuz MS-09 spacecraft.
Okay, here we go. Got it? Okay, so I'm pulling you.
Сереж.
Okay, Oleg, move forward.
А если мы сейчас
Oleg, what if we pull the boom towards the launch restraint? Do you think it will help you? Or it will be in the way? I think that we will not be able to identify the position, so I will be pulling myself towards him each time we need to do so. Oleg, how are your hands doing? What do you mean? Well, maybe we should do it slightly differently. Oleg, you may egress the foot restraint, and Sergey will ingress the foot restraint, so you can take turns. Do you think you should just swap your positions? Sergey will ingress Yakor foot restraint, and then you will swap places again, and he will hand over MMOD shield to you, and you will get a chance to rest. Well, I'm not tired yet. So we'll just keep working. What do you think, Sergey? Well, just it's up to you. I think it's moving faster now. Okay, well, guys, whatever you say, if it works best for you, then let's just keep going. Okay, let's go ahead and try to use the EVA knife. Okay. This is Moscow. Please make sure you do not go too far downward. This is the direction of the cutting. Okay, yes, we will make sure. Can you see the depth because there is one more black layer? Yes. Okay, this is Moscow. This is layer 2. Okay, so I'm going to pull my rats. What do you think, Sergey? Should we use a clip here? Yes, install the clip and then try to pull it away. Okay, let's use the knife. Or we can just use the EVA knife. Well, guys, it's up to you. Okay, so I'm just going to turn. Sergey, let me do it. So just hold this piece here. Okay, so you opened it, correct? Yes. Yes, I pulled it away and opened it. Cut it open. Okay, guys, be careful with your hands there. Okay, so pull it away. Okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna pull it away, and you hold the cutter. Okay. Are you floating away? Yes. Oleg, can you see MMOD shield? Yes. And can you see the line? The line that's taped over? Yes, I can see the line. I think I'm gonna do the same thing, what I just did. Okay, be careful here, okay? Make sure it doesn't touch you. All is well. What did you say? Guys, this is Moscow. Please take at least 2-minute break while we'll be thinking through our next steps. Well, okay, we almost reached it. Well, I think you can just push against it. And guys, I think you are going to disconnect RAT from MLI. What do you think? Stand by. Sergey, does it work? 1 second. Not yet. Let's cut it here. Look, to the right from you, I have cut this stripe right here. If you insert it right here, will that work for you? I will try to use this wire tie from under. Just be careful because there are some sharp edges here. Yes, guys, of course, please be careful. I will. Oleg, yes. Can you see unintelligible? We haven't cut far enough to get there. Okay, copy. Hey guys, can you hear me? Yes. This is Vladimir Solovyev. Yes, hello. Let us set up the workplace so that Sergey could install that blanket for you. Vladimir, how? Literally, I think what is left, we should leave it as is. Sergey, do you think we should try harder here? The cut that is left here, it's right here, it stopped right here. We need to cut more down, and then there will be enough space for us. Like that.
Yes, so we cut it a little bit further. Now please give me a clamp. Okay. Oleg, we still would like to ask you to be really careful. Can you cut a little bit deeper? Do you want us to cut further? Is that what you're saying? What you showed us, yes, this is a perfect pattern. We like that plan. Okay. All right.
This is Mission Control Houston at the 5-hour, 20-minute mark in the spacewalk, the eureka moment where the crew finally saw the area, a small black dot that flight controllers and Korolyov, Russian flight controllers, say represents the area on the external hull where the hole corresponds to the inside of the habitation module that was detected back on August 29th, causing the pressure decay that was repaired through material soaked in epoxy sealant that was stuffed inside the 1/10 of an inch hole on the inside. The extrusion of some of that material is what you see, what you saw a moment ago anyway, on the hull, on the external hull. Now that the crew has cut through the insulation and a portion of the debris shield underneath, peeling all of that back to expose the area that they plan to collect samples from, to be put in a special container to be brought back to Earth for analysis by Russian engineers.
Sergey, could you please secure the cut? Oleg, the width that you have cut out is quite sufficient, so cut this width, the whole of it. Oh, I have cut it out. I have cut it out. Yes, that's quite enough. That's quite enough. Yes, I cut it out. I cut it out. Activate the camera. Okay, Oleg. First of all, position yourself in such a way that we could receive the image from your camera a little bit to the right. You know, a little bit to the right. Yes.
And a good unobstructed view now of that black spot. That's the hole on the external hull of the habitation module that corresponds to the area that the hole was detected inside back on August 29th.
A little more to the right. Now you're going to the left. We need to the right. No, I was moving to the right. A little bit more, a little bit more. No, it's the wrong direction. Move in the opposite direction. A little bit more. Do you want more, Moscow? Yes, a little bit more. Same direction. When I was taking pictures of the thermal sensors, you know, the numbers this time were blinking a little bit differently than that time when I was shooting the thermal sensors. Okay, Oleg, I'm activating my camera. So I'm activating it. You hold this first, and I will try to give you my camera. Okay, let me activate it, Sergey. Let me activate it. Yes, it is working. There is an LED, and there was no LED on my camera. Okay. Let it go.
Давай. Да, блин, пушнина это не попадает.
Can you see? I cannot use the grips here.
Не получается зацепить, да?
So there is no joy, guys, to take a sample.
Далековато, да? Да, далеко.
Is it rather far? Yes, it is too far. I cannot reach it properly.
Значит, это самое, ребят.
Guys, this is most. So, okay, put away the Hawker's forceps, put it away.
И не забудьте одеть на него трубку.
Don't forget to put a cover on it, on the forceps.
Вот сейчас крайняя попытка и сколько...
Okay, so it's the last attempt, and if it fails, then just stow it away.
Взял.
Oh, I managed to grip it. I managed. It's a success.
Еще что-то.
Одевай колпачок.
Put the cup on it.
Возьмешь?
Mission Control Houston, we're at the 6-hour mark in the spacewalk. Oleg Kononenko trying mightily to collect a sample of the epoxy sealant that extruded through the hole that was observed first on August 29th on the inside of the habitation module and then sealed up with that epoxy sealant to close up the hole and stop the leak that caused a pressure decay.
When we pressed the jaws of the forceps, it broke. It is fragile.
That's it, I think.
This is Mission Control Houston, 6 hours, 17 minutes into the spacewalk. Oleg Kononenko in the red stripes, Sergei Prokopyev in the blue stripes, beginning to wrap up work at the worksite in the habitation module area of the Soyuz MS-09, where they have exposed the area where the hole was located inside the habitation module back on August 29th, causing a temporary decay in pressure to the International Space Station. That hole was quickly fixed by Prokopyev and Alexander Gerst using an epoxy sealant on cloth material that was jammed into the hole. The epoxy sealant that extruded through the outer hull of the Soyuz was clearly visible during this sample collection activity, and samples of that epoxy were taken by the cosmonauts and put in a container that will be brought back to Earth for analysis by Russian engineers. We are now hearing that the crew no longer plans to put a insulation blanket over the area of the incision where they cut through thermal insulation and a piece of the micrometeoroid orbital debris shield underneath. Russian specialists at the Russian Mission Control Center in Korolyov outside Moscow have determined through analysis that it is not necessary for the habitation module to be covered with that piece of thermal insulation as the original plan had called for. This habitation module, as we've mentioned before, but it's worth mentioning again.
Okay, so I've reached.
The habitation module is depressurized right after the deorbit burn that will occur next Wednesday evening. The crew is inside the center section of the Soyuz vehicle, the descent module, strapped into their respective seats. The habitation module is then pyrotechnically jettisoned along with the lower section of the Soyuz, which is the instrumentation and propulsion module, right before the vehicle enters the Earth's atmosphere. So the habitation module's work is basically completed after the crew has climbed inside through the habitation module to the descent module and closed the hatches behind them. So again, we're now hearing that the Russian specialists no longer believe that it's required to put a thermal blanket over the area where the incision and the inspection took place by the two cosmonauts. You see in this wider view from an external truss camera, Sergei Prokopyev beginning to set up the Strela telescoping boom once again for Oleg Kononenko to be transported from the work site on the habitation module over to the Zarya module, and then back from Zarya to the Pirs docking compartment, where the crew will re-enter the International Space Station's airlock and close the hatch to complete the spacewalk. One other note, as the two cosmonauts are making their way back towards Pirs, we'll be hearing that Anne McLean and David St. Jacques will be moving into their Soyuz spacecraft, which is the Soyuz MS-11 spacecraft that docked last week to the Poisk module on the space-facing side of the Russian segment of the International Space Station for a period of about 1 hour of isolation. That is a standard operating procedure for Russian spacewalks to enable the spacewalkers themselves to have a backup airlock capability through the service module if necessary, in the unlikely event they would be unable to repressurize the Pirs docking compartment for some reason. So once again, we are hearing that it will not be necessary to place a thermal blanket over the area of the incision that you see right above Oleg Kononenko, where he used a knife and other cutting tools to cut back thermal insulation, and then a piece of the orbital debris shield underneath to reach the site where the epoxy sealant extruded through the hull of the habitation module. Samples were collected. This is correspondent to the area inside the habitation module, the upper portion of the Soyuz vehicle, where the leak was detected back on August 29th and then sealed up by Prokopyev and Alexander Gerst.
Is that enough, or I should move it further to the right? What about the upper handrails? Let's see. 2201.
Максимально приближаемся к кольцевым поручням ГА ФГБ.
Try to move closer, as close as you can, to the pressurized adapter of the FGB. Copy all.
От возможного контакта с чем угодно.
And try to avoid your physical or mechanical contact with anything that you might encounter on the way to the pressurized adapter. And that will be it for today.
Ну, она, конечно, тут на МИМ-1 все-таки.
I'm here on MRM1. Are we attaching it to the pressurized adapter? Exactly right, pressurized adapter. The solar rays are right behind you, yes. I'm trying to be careful.
Я так понимаю, на гермодатторе самое такое место — это близость солнечной.
The most dangerous spot or working operation post near the pressurized adapter is right in front of the solar rays. Is that correct, Oleg? That's correct. We just talked about the foot restraint, the hook that is on the foot restraint. Yes. I think I can remove it. You can spend a couple more minutes on that. Okay, copy. We understand, Sergey. Unintelligible. Copy.
Okay, so I have reached the restraint here. Okay. Here's the kit. Okay. Are you stuck somewhere? No, I think it's fine. Well, it seems that I just can't turn. So what do we have left there? A kit? Yes, correct. So let me move over there. Well, my feet are already in SODC1. Okay, copy. So move further inside and wait for Sergey to hand over the kits to you, and then you will take the kits inside and activate your sublimators. Okay. Inaudible. Come again. It is underneath your left hand. Is this one over here next to the EV hatch? My handrail. Not the handrail, but this is it. If you look to your left, you will see it.